So the feelings and emotions, when we just kind of release them and let them go, yeah, it feels good in the moment, but I guess ultimately thinking about, you want that shock value. What else could I have done? Because you're also releasing a lot of energy behind that to get that shock value.
Because I have words, I have lots of words, but again, that shock factor and out of character really changed a lot. And unfortunately, but fortunately, it divided what needs to be around me and who doesn't need to be around me.
Turn your words into your greatest asset. Tonight's guest is Dr. LaQuetta Clipps. She's a principal of a school, and she's a transformational life coach.
We came out the womb crying or making sounds, making noise. So we've been doing us since birth. And now we're trying to guard our mouths, hold back the F-bombs, right? The frustration. So it's understandable, totally understandable, but it just takes a little hard work and discipline, and it can be done. I am definitely a walking proof that it can be done. I've learned myself, it's just being intentional. I used to say a few cuss words myself, and I just turned them into different words. I don't say the F-bomb, but I'll say fudge or fiddlesticks, or that's more intentional, and I had people that, well, you might as well say the word, you that close. No, it takes more control for me to hold back and not say than to just let it loose and not have a filter. So it's just being more intentional.
I had a client of mine, instead of him using the F-bomb or dropping words, he would say, donut. I said, every time you say a word, you come back a different way. So you better stop using food words, because
Oh, yes.
it made him more hungry. Every time he turned around, I was like,
Mhm.
and then his wife was like, honey, I've been trying to tell him that for the longest time, to stop using them kind of words, because every time he turns around, he think he's supposed to be eating it.
Mm.
I like what you said, though, about being intentional, because it's so crazy, because when I stop to think about, did I really mean to say that? Did I really mean to come at that person like that? I intentionally meant to do that. So,
Mhm.
and I'm being real, because I don't really use that. Anybody that knows me knows that they've even looked at me and said, wow, that is surprising of you lately.
Mhm.
I was even told, you have a potty mouth all of a sudden. And I really, to be honest, and I'm serious, and I would like to figure that out, because I never really dropped that. And Siobhan, you know me, I never really dropped that. But lately, as of late, and I'm being real, intentionally, because
Yes.
I meant the shock factor. I meant to say that. I meant to shock that
Mhm.
person.
It's in the culture, it's in the language now, and that's when people are angry, mostly angry, right? That's when they want to just, like, this verbal attack, this verbal diarrhea.
I just never found the need to really to use that until the last, I'm going to be honest, maybe the last,
Just 2 days?
no, 2 months.
Oh, 2 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it could be your environment. What's going on in your environment that brings that out of you?
Mhm.
Because again,
Yeah.
your environment could be a trigger.
I'm like in one of the best places I have ever, maybe it's freedom. I don't know. I'm in one of the best places that I've ever been in a long time. Mental health wise, physical wise, detox. Thank you, shameless plug.
There you go, Dr. Ronnie.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And it's one reason why I wanted to do the show, is because it has been intentional. It is not anything around me. The times I used it, like I said, was intentional, because it was a shock factor of someone demanding something of me yet again. I guess maybe that's what it is. The demand for sometimes my time has been really stretched over the past few months. And so I don't know, my love language, you know what I'm saying, has changed to maybe a self-survival mode, or, you know, I don't know, lash out and say, you know, this is not, I'm not her anymore. Catch this one, you know, and it's been like I said, a little bit of a shock factor.
When the dash light comes on in your car, it's an indicator that something's wrong. So I think when we begin to release those, I call them F word, those F things, and those E feelings, the emotions and feelings, the F words and E things. That's what I call them. So the feelings and emotions, when we just kind of release them and let them go, yeah, it feels good in the moment, but I guess ultimately thinking about, you want that shock value. What else could I have done? Because you're also releasing a lot of energy behind that to get that shock value. And when you find yourself at a place of peace where you can still get your point across without having to let the indicator light come on, which is really letting your emotions and your feelings know, you know, warning, 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 something's, it's like bubbling on the inside, if you will. And then tears, because for myself, for example, when I get really upset and it's nothing I can do about it, the tears release. Well, for me, I know that that is a trigger moment from the fact that because tears are the heart's release valve. So usually there's pressure on the inside that for whatever reason, there's nothing I can do about it. So those feelings and or emotions go somewhere. You know, I often tell men that I counsel that, you know, they've been told big boys don't cry, you know, stop acting like a little punk and suck it up and all of this. So they don't cry, right? Because they've been taught that men should not cry, especially in front of other people. So, but where does all that built up anger and frustration go? So when we don't manage the F words and the E things, right? The feelings and emotions, then there's no filter. We're out of control. The male and women, they may hit, some men and women rather, they may hit something, they may punch something, they may kick something, versus just letting it go and releasing it. But there's that pride factor, of course. But when we're allowing those things to build up on the inside, we're just looking for a quick release. And that quick release is usually that moment, almost like Dr. Romunda said, that climax, if you will. And it's like, whoo, that felt good. But how do we walk away leaving the other person feeling? Sometimes, how do we even walk away feeling, you know? So just learning to be that word just keeps coming to me, being more intentional. Like, you know, there was a time where I would go there with you, but I'm gonna hold it. Not because the more of ourselves that we release, especially when it comes to the F words and the E things, the feelings and emotions, we're really giving so much control over to that other person. We've given so much control to that other person, but, you know, using those words and adjusting the tone and the volume of our persona and our voice and our words, it makes, you know, it's a trick of the enemy, but it makes us feel like we're in control of the situation. Well, no, really, you're not. The other person just really won, if you want to be honest, because they pulled something out of you that, like you said, where is this coming from in these 2 months? It's built up, usually frustration, and we got to learn to manage them F words and E things, those feelings and emotions.
A lot of times it becomes a habit.
Yes.
It becomes a habit that people don't even realize that they say it so much, they don't even realize they saying words.
Yes.
You see, that becomes a natural. I've talked to people their whole conversation. I'm like, God, well, let me buy you a dictionary. You know what I'm saying? Because apparently your words are very limited. You know, and it's like, to me, I am a very classy person. very classy. And I think when I hear women mouth like that, and I'll be like, whoa, where's your classiness? You know, where's your style? Where's your respect for yourself? I think it is the most disrespectfulest thing to hear anybody curse. But when women does it, I'd be like, oh my God. And when they talk to children, and when you talk to children, then you wonder why the kids' conversation is your conversation. Because you're learning and teaching them words at the womb, then from the womb to the baby, to the toddler, to the teenager, and you gotta and then you're mad with them because they're using it, but you taught them how to use it in a certain way and how to go about using it. You see, and so to me, I'm like, what comes out of your mouth? You know, as you said, like you said, the power is in the tongue. So why do we not teaching people how to use the tongue in a positive light? Again, it's out of habit. You just like trying to tell them not to drink cold water, but what they do anyway, they still drink cold water, knowing what happens to your body when you drink cold water. You see, or don't put your hand on that stove because it's hot. And what you do, you go still put your hand on the stove and then you get burned. Be like, oh, it burnt me. Oh, really? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how does it make sense to you to realize that what you think and how you feel, you have to learn how to have mind control. It says mind over matters that a matter over your mind. You see, and a lot of us don't have mind control. We don't have discipline. We don't have respect, and a lot of people don't have habits. I mean, they have more bad habits than they have positive habits.
When they realize, wow, well, we have taken you out of character, and they were like looking like, wow, this is big, so it's kind of like a back off and say, well, obviously she needs space. Obviously touched on something that, maybe, and just like you said, it was a conversation opener for a person that I, had that heated conversation with. It opened the conversation, was, well, wow, that was new for you to talk to me like that. So it was like, well, let me tell you why. Because, it was like a pressure cooker, over and over. Finally,
the frustration.
Yeah, can you not see? And when you've tried it every way, and for me, that's what it was. It's like you could see it building up. Certain people around me watching me with what I was doing, they were saying, "Ooh, don't ask her, don't ask her this, don't do this, she's there." And then when it was released, it was like, "See, I told you."
But it's sad it got to get to that point, though, Donna. It's sad it got to get to that point. It's really sad it has to get to that point for people like, oh, okay. I got what you're saying. When you was like, oh, can you leave me alone, please? I'm kind of busy. And he's like, can you leave me alone, please? And then you say, can you leave me? And they be like, oh,
then they're offended.
Harsh.
Right. Then it's an offense, and then it's, oh my gosh, I can't believe you talked to me like that. And it is discipline. And I love it because I never went at people like that. I never, ever handled people that way. But then it began to be such a push, just a constant push where I really feel that if I would have said, and I tried every, nice way, not now, later, let's talk about it later. Let's go this, let's go that. And to say that was the thing that really stopped the ball in its tracks and made someone go, wow, she's really serious. She's really there.
It's interesting because I know Donna really well. And sometimes in the past, I've pushed her. I pushed her a little bit. I've been pestering her for something, right? To do with the show or something else. And she sets that boundary with me. She'll be like, no, not now. Good. You don't want to go there with me now. Right? She's like, I probably have texts from her. Like, just back off.
It's just so different. Done. And that's what I mean. It's just so different to be that person. You know what I mean? And what I'm saying is just very different, uncharacteristic to be that person.
Then there's something in there. There's something within you that frustration is there. And sometimes you'd be amazed at how many people are intentionally, there goes that word again, intentionally trying to push your buttons. You'd be amazed because they realize and recognize, if I do this, she's going to react this way. She's going to say it nicely one time. She's going to say it nicely 2 times. But if I keep punching how do they say now, what's the new thing? If you keep poking the bear, you're going to wake the bear up. If I keep poking at her, she's going to go off. And you'd be amazed. Sometimes people are looking for that response for several different reasons. Well, why didn't you come to me? Well, when I tried to come to you, you were upset. You cussed me out. Oh, okay, excuse. But they set you up in a sense. You know, some people they're trying to push your buttons, especially if you exhibited that behavior before. Now they've seen, oh, okay, now I know what I used to, now I know what I need to do. You know, I think about my kid's father many, many years ago, when he wanted to go back out from where he had came from and from where he had come from, he come in the house and he started an argument. But I learned the pattern. So I stopped giving him what he wanted, and I just be like, hey, and keep it moving, you know, because when you don't give, you know, it kind of, well, the what Bible says, a soft answer turneth away wrath. It takes two to argue. I started learning, you know, if he comes in and I'm, where you been, blah, 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 he's going to get what he wants. He's going to turn and go right back out to go right back wherever he just came from. I'll be back. Oh, well, how do you know you're going to be back? Because I'm going to go in and I'm going to say something or I'm going to do something. Well, how about just the fact that you ain't been home all night? You know I'm going to say something when you walk in, which is what he wants, because now he gets to leave back out. So just learning to manage, that's like the most control that you can have for yourself. For me, it's peace of mind. Nobody's worth disrupting my peace. If I said no, it's still no. Whether I say no gently or whether I say no, you know, a little bit more sternly, and the answer is still no.
So let's get to like true verbal abuse, where somebody is constantly abusing somebody in their family. They're picking up the phone and calling them, you know, they're all, you know, doped up or drunk at, you know, 8 o'clock at night, and they're calling this person and just abusing them. Like you could hear the yelling on the other end of, you know, the person yelling and verbally abusing this person. That person was clearly not watching their mouth. That may be a psychological problem that needs addressing, but I think that in our culture we see it so much on television that we're just replaying. It's role playing for us, right?
That's what's called tale of vision.
Exactly.
Tale of vision, not television. Tale of vision. Whose vision is it telling? Tale of vision.
Exactly. As Dr. Romunda was just speaking, it made me think about, like she said, television. Remember when they used to, years ago, there was breaking news, and they break in the middle of what you were watching. And after the news was spoken, they say, now back to your regularly scheduled programming. It was meant to program the mind of whomever it is that's watching. I watched a documentary once, and they talked about how the world of, as Dr. Romunda said, television has changed. You know why? If you remember the Brady Bunch, they had a Jack and Jill bathroom. They felt the world was not ready to see boys and girls in the bathroom together. Now you would see the girls in the bathroom together. Rarely ever did you see the boy and the girl in the bathroom together. Ricky and Lucy, they had two different bedrooms. They felt that America was not ready to see a man and a woman in bed together.
But little Ricky came along. Don't forget about little Ricky, showed up somewhere.
He got there somehow. Right, but they went back to their separate bedrooms. Well, they were programming. Now these television shows, they're programming us. They're programming us to the ways of the world, the way they want us to think, the things they want us to accept. They're programming our mind. And the more they do it, the more they're hoping we'll accept it as the new norm.
When we lead with love, I think that there's a lot of things that can change. Because if we don't, we lose the freedom that we so want. And as human beings. We want to be able to make our own decisions and you know, love who we want to love and do what we want to do. And there's just so many, I don't even know anymore. I don't know if I'm saying the wrong word, because, you know, when I was
Not politically correct.
10 years old, it was part of my everyday conversation. And now it's either not politically correct or it means something totally different.
We allowing the people to be on the radio. One point in time, if you got caught cursing on a show, you got fined for it.
Yeah,
that's right.
You got caught cursing on radio, you got fined for it. See? Now they must have went to sleep and forgot to wake up to start charging people or something. I don't know what happened. But every time you turn around now, the radio is free to speak it. The television is free to speak it and show it. So it's like,
social media.
how do you expect the generation? That's why homes are broken, because you got to watch, you got somebody on the television trying to control, and then you in the household trying to say, hey, look, this is not what we do here. Just because it's there doesn't mean you represent it here in the house. So what you do, you change the channel so they can't see it. Or stop putting on things that's going to represent them thinking. Like I try to make sure I got an 8-year-old here and a 28-year-old here. So you understand an 8-year-old is like, oh, we got all that word in there, we change the channel.
Actually, I just got this vision that basically cursing is hate speech. And so, you know, everybody's talking about hate speech, but they're all using the F-bomb and the C word and whatever comes out of their mouth. They don't consider that hate speech, but isn't that hypocritical? And you're cursing. You're actually cursing somebody. You're putting a curse on them and their family and their loved ones and anybody that they're connected to, where their energy goes, right? Where energy goes, energy flows. So we're being taught to curse people and keep everybody in a low vibrational space, so that then we can't vibe high and we can't reach our true potential. We're being taught to curse and keep that negative energy flowing, as opposed to bringing the energy up so everybody speaks in love tones. Maybe
you got a chemical imbalance, you got a hormone imbalance, you got receptors that's zooming around our heads. You know, you got to remember, we got these phones and that's bringing these tower powers to us that's sending out all these signals. So you got to look at our conversation. If I call you on the phone, it got to go through what? The airwave. So it depends on what your conversation is through the airwave, how many times you think it's going to drop along that airwave, you know? So you got to look at the toxicity of these things that we involved in. You know, what toxicity does it represent? Does it represent life, or does it represent, you know, habits? Again, like we talk about those habits.
Yes.
Or is it just, like you said, representation of lack of home training? Lack of home training, because home training starts with home. But if the home ain't trained, then how you expect for the training to walk out the door and represent? So again, when you walk out the door, you're a representation of what goes on in your environment.
You know, we've gone from hate speech and cursing and you know, just all around being programmed to be a certain way, at a certain frequency, a certain vibration. And we all know that when we lift our vibration and we lift that frequency and the energy around it, around us, it expands to other people. So tonight we're having a great conversation. You're laughing, because nobody is in that frame of mind they're not in that negative low vibration where, you know, greed and apathy and pestilence and all those, you know, hate and all those emotions sit, right? You're talking about the E things, right? So when was the last time, and I want to ask each one of you, that you intentionally spoke something positive into your life? Dr. Romunda, you want to start?
Every day. Let me tell you why I say every day. Because if you don't, society will make you pull you right into their web. I used to have a girl to call my phone. She would call my phone every month. She would call my phone and cuss me out every month. And at the end, I said, I love you, baby. She said, and click. And she'd hang up the phone because she couldn't get me where she wanted. See, to me, it's how you feed it, it's how it grows. See, if you constantly feed somebody that's going to come at you like that, it's going to constantly grow. But if you don't feed them what they like, it won't grow. You see what I'm saying? So if you kill them with kindness, as the old school said, kill them with kindness, baby. It ain't nothing wrong with being nice to somebody. That's real. No matter how they act towards you, never let nobody pull you where they want you. Like the doc said earlier, that's controlling. They're controlling you. So for me, it's like I have to protect myself because I am around people. And when we walk out this door, you are in the world.
Do you have any tips for people to develop that intentional, positive word salad?
Well, I think Dr. Romunda kind of hit on something too. When you wake up in the morning, how you start your day is everything, and it should be, as the young lady said, with words of affirmation to yourself, devotion time, spending time with God or whoever, your higher power, whatever my higher power is God. But, and spending time with yourself. What you put in you is whether it's something you're physically eating or what you're saying to yourself. What you put in is what you're going to get out. And there's a scripture that says evil company corrupts good habits. So sometimes it's the people that we're around, those spirits, that energy, that that negative vibe, the toxicity. Sometimes it's not that may not even be you, but when you leave, you find yourself with the behaviors or the words or the even sometimes like Dr. Romunda was saying, sometimes people can call you, first thing in the morning and dump something on you. And now you woke up with feeling good, but all of a sudden after talking to them, your spirit is totally heavy now, So we have to guard our hearts. We have to guard our minds. We have to, I call them the gates. You have to guard your eye gates and your ear gates, what you're watching, what you're listening to. That's important. What you listen to first thing in the morning, which it goes back to like Dr. Romunda said, who are you laying next to? Pillow talk should be something pleasant, something good, not first thing you wake up in the morning. People used to say, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, So it's just being intentional about who we surround ourselves with, what we listen to first thing in the morning, giving yourself daily affirmations, So just making sure that you are very set on how you want your day to go, because we'll have whatsoever we say. We can speak life into a situation or a person, place, or thing, the nouns in our lives, or we can speak death, So, and then sometimes things are from our past. They're from our past experiences that we have to be delivered from. We say things so haphazardly. Oh, I'm so stupid. I left the coffee pot on. Okay, now you just spoken a curse over yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm so absent-minded. I can't remember anything. All these little cliches that we say, and just like Dr. Romunda said, we don't even realize you're saying it. So you have to just work to be more intentional, because that's what you put in is what you're going to get out. And who you find yourself surrounded by,
You're killing me. That's a word people use it all the time. You're killing me. I'd be like, whoa, whoa,
yes,
hold on.
You're not killing me.
You have no idea how I'm like, I love you to death. No.
yes,
Don't love me. Don't love me to death.
Yeah.
And so again, I think it's our responsibility to try to lead by example by our own household.
Yes,
That's
where it starts.
Because it starts within here. So
that's right.
When you're dealing with teenager or children, my grandson tell his little friend in a minute, you shouldn't talk like that.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? That's his level. That's his age level right there. You see, he can say it because that's the age level. He get in trouble at school because he told somebody that. But other than that, it's how what's some more what people like to say? Not only I love you to I love you to death. You're killing me. All like you said, it's a whole lot more.
You make me sick. They say that.
Yeah, you make me
Yes,
sick.
you get on my
You
nerves.
get on my nerves. See?
Then you wonder why you have all these neurological problems, because
Right.
you're saying you get on my nerves, and now you shaking, and you got your spine problems, and
You make my
it's
gut
like,
hurt.
oh yes.
You make
my gut hurt. You make my head hurt. See?
You make my
like
anxiety go through the roof. What someone just said.
Wow.
Make my anxiety go through all those words. That's right. That we use.
Or even when dealing with dis-ease, people are now saying my sugar, my arthritis. Oh, I got Arthur. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, I got arthritis. And it's like, oh, it's yours? I didn't know sickness and disease was ours. I don't claim that. Well, the doctor said the doctor diagnosed you with something, but that is not yours. That doesn't belong to you. So when we say my, we're making it personal.
You become more connected to spirit, more connected to the collective when you are vibrating in this love space, right? There can be all kinds of awful things going on around you in your life and stuff coming at you, and you're like, having to set boundaries and stuff like that. But I think that if majority of your day is spent in love, that vibration of love, and it's it becomes easier to do. Do you have any final thoughts about what we talked about tonight? Watch your words.
No, just watch them. I mean, it's what it is. We I'm always transparent. I'm always going to keep it real and bring what's going on with me. I mean, it's real. To be able to talk to my tribe, which is what this is, to my tribe, to be able to be told that I'm going to be in trouble tomorrow, huh, Dr. Romunda? Get this right, get some feelings, get some hands on me. No, but in all reality, I know what I need to do, and like I said, that was a moment for me and has been a moment for me. It's been more like a release of a bunch of stuff, let's just be like that way. Because I have words, I have lots of words, but that shock factor and out of character really changed a lot. And unfortunately, but fortunately, it divided what needs to be around me and who doesn't need to be around me.
A lot of times we look for love, and we look for love in all the wrong places. I think a lot of times we look for happiness, and happiness doesn't come the way we think it should come. And so for me, sometimes you have to learn to create life. A lot of people never was raised to know what love was. A lot of people was never raised to know what it is to say, hey, you look nice today. Or people never was raised to say, I love you, without having intentions, like, or identifying people as we are ladies. I have a pet peeve, that word guys. That thing burns my spirit to the highest when I hear people, because I say, I work too hard to keep these things in motion and in place to be considered a guy, and people like, oh, it's the words of the day. But you know what? Stop making words of the day my word of me. Don't put me in a category. I'm not a guy. I am a woman with class, style, elegance. I got curvations. I got breasts. I got smile. I got, what I'm saying? I'm a woman, and people carry words, and they get upset if you don't identify or enjoy that word. And I'm like, that's not my problem. That's your problem. But identify me to who I am. You have to make people recognize who you are. Be the change you want others to see.
First of all, thank you again for having me. I've had such a wonderful time. But I would like to just leave with everyone remembering that we were created in the image of God, and He spoke the world into existence. So His words are power. Therefore, we're created in His image, so our words are power. So we speak life or we speak death. So my hope is that we'll watch our mouths and be intentional on what it is that we say. And it requires us to think before we speak. You know, our moms used to say, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. Because the very words that you speak over someone else could really, make or break them. I think Dr. Romunda was the one who said, we don't know what people are going through. And sometimes we're the only positivity, we're the only Bible, we're the only encouragement, we're the only inspiration that people receive. So just realizing that what we say, even over ourselves, is so important. How we start our day off with that, spending time with God or whomever you may worship or serve, and just being intentional about what you're saying, even to yourself, because we can bring ourselves down too into depression and suicide and chaos and discontentment, regret, guilt, shame. We can go on and on about the spirits that try to overtake us, but when we speak life and we remind ourselves who he says, he being God, says that we're beautifully and wonderfully made. We're the head and not the tail. We're head and above only, actually, and not beneath. So we're peculiar people. So just remembering that we can speak life or we can speak death, but no matter what, be intentional, because there's power in your mouth. So watch your mouth.